There's no need.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Junker Clunkers Live. Got a couple of special guests here. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Mr. Rev, the one and only. Go
What's
ahead
up,
and
everybody?
yourself, sir. Introduce yourself.
Oh,
I mean, everybody's here for you. Everybody's here for you.
Yeah,
so
you're the big.
I wasn't listening well. My name is David. I go by Rev here on YouTube. Our channel is Revstoration, and if you see in the background, we like old Fords, and we enjoy working on rigs and getting them going again. So it's awesome being here tonight. Looking forward to the chat.
Are you going to sing your intro?
No singing, no intro needed on my end.
Darn. And then we got Mr. Forsaken Steel. David, take it away.
Still working on junk and making bad decisions, monetarily at least. So, yeah.
Wait a second. Yours is a different tier of junk now because you've passed that like 6,000 mark, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Through that, maybe double. We're over.
You got some bad reception going on? Is that me?
So, there's nothing like putting $10,000 in a $2,000 car. But yeah, Forsaken Steel's the channel. I'm also David. It's a great name.
Hey, man.
I didn't even realize we had David and David tonight.
Wow.
Is it your internet reception is a little wonky, or is that mine?
Rev, you in Georgia?
Yep. Yeah, I'm about halfway down the state, just straight south of southeast of Atlanta.
Whose internet's messing up? Is that mine?
About 8-9 hours from me.
Yep. Michael, it looks like we're good. I think Forsaken Steel is blinking a little bit.
Okay.
I could be. It's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
You're Forsaken.
Some nights it does well, some nights it doesn't.
Just tonight ain't going to be one of those nights.
We'll just have to. I may sign out here in a minute, sign back in. Sometimes that helps.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Mr. Rev is talking.
That was a little while ago. I came in and tried to make sure I knew what I was sharing. So,
So I have to say, for anyone out there, Rev is one of my favorite channels.
Oh, I'm honored.
What right in his heart. He's right there.
I'm not. No,
You're hurting David.
I said one of my favorite channels. We love Forsaken Steel too.
Yeah.
I tell him that every week.
It's okay, Brittany. It's okay. I know where I stand. It's fine.
No, you're my other favorite.
Uh-oh.
Or what? Oh, here comes
Vader, how did you open the door, kitty?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh.
Shit.
All right. So we got Liberty. Hey, Liberty, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in. Hey, Rev's still here.
Yep.
What's going on? Oh, Mickey T's in here. What's up, Mickey T?
Yeah.
Prime rib.
It's prime rib.
Without a doubt.
If you guys can tell, I have no idea, no platform we go off. We're just winging this.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Sounds like
the junkyard necromancer.
But you know what? It's kind of like going into a junkyard. You don't know where you're starting, and you don't know where you're going to end up. But in the middle,
or what you'll find along the way. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Pretty scary stuff. When it's probably this year, within the past couple of months, it's been my first couple of months in the junkyard.
Yeah, she went. I sent her the junkyard a couple times for her new rig, and it turned out kind of funny.
Now I need another piece that I'm gonna have to go to the junkyard for.
Well, that's an awesome thing around here. They're the cars that we work on. I mean, they're so hard to find. Most of them have been crushed, finding parts is mostly eBay is my junkyard. So every now and again you get to find a few of them, but very, very rarely.
Yeah.
There's a few good ones around, but they're getting where they're so picked over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, eBay and actually subscribers, Liberty, he was without him, I don't think we would have made it to the car show, like parts wise, because he had the fuel pump that is absolutely nowhere in the world. I cannot find it anywhere. He had one. And what was it?
Keep me up to date. The fuel pump, what was it in? That was in the
not sure if you've watched any of the series of it, but the 61 Ford Falcon delivery.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that was I knew that was one you had been working on. I didn't know that you had actually made it to SEMA in it. So that's awesome.
Well, not SEMA. No, I didn't make it to SEMA. I made it to the car show down here.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say you that thing's running good.
She's in storage now. She's running. It has a lot of electrical gremlins. It looks good, I think. It drives pretty good. It stops. There's no lights.
Yeah, that's my job with the flashlight.
Yeah, have you seen it? Shoot out the window with a DeWalt flashlight. Nighttime.
It works.
Whatever it takes, I tell you, blink it on.
Yeah. Seabolt saying hi, Rev.
Howdy.
The story about the story about the door is, and I can't say too much because of hippopotamus, but I call it it's HIPAA, but hippopotamus. Oh. So I work for an undisclosed place taking care of undisclosed people. So I just got this Jeep Grand Cherokee a couple weeks ago. It's a 2006. Now I figured out how to change the settings, so it's not a problem anymore, but it was set so that all the doors locked automatically. I didn't know that when I had a person in my car that I was going to take out to bring it to the gas station. And so this person is mentally delayed and doesn't understand open the door. It's like having a young child. So all the doors had locked, the sunroof was closed, and my keys and my phone were in the Jeep.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was kind of panicking and so I found a crowbar because, sketchy gas stations always have weird things outside. Found a crowbar, and I thought maybe it would be like, the movies or whatever. You can take a crowbar, just kind of pry it open. It kind of works. Doesn't work. So now...
You could have got in, but you'd have needed to buy a window.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
Well, yeah. So
wait, there's more.
guy that had taken on a little too much of the spirits showed up. He had convoy yellow lensed glasses, and I could definitely smell what he was drinking. And he's like, oh man, he's like, here, hold on, I'll help you. Hey, can you open the door? I'm like, I don't think she can open the door. Meanwhile, she's in the back laughing because she thinks this is hilarious. He's like, oh my gosh, she's freaking out. I said, no, this is her laughing. This is her, So he was trying to smash the window a good 3 times. And then I found out he had a phone on him. I said, well, can I just use your phone? So we got it all situated, but now on the rear passenger or the rear driver's side
Don't
window.
eat my hat. She's got my hat too.
The rear driver's side door kind of looks like a tuna can. It's kind of pulled backwards because he also thought he could use the crowbar and he made it worse.
Oh.
So I was telling Forsaken Steel, I need to get a Hulk or a She-Hulk or whatever bumper sticker while it's punching to make it look like it's punched in the door until I can buy a door, which will probably be after Christmas.
Yeah.
Making the best of a bad situation.
Sometimes you gotta MacGyver things, and that's just the way it is.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Tom. Oh, actually, Tom's girlfriend is the one making me the sticker.
Come see me.
Cool.
She's gonna Make me a She-Hulk.
Man, you got to kill your background. You
Yeah,
can't
y'all
see
are like-
nothing. You're
Well,
in
I
and
feel
out,
like
in and out. It's awful.
Okay,
I
hold on a
need
second.
I need the lens that the dude had that messed your car up because y'all are
I mean-
blinking in and out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
much
y'all-
better.
Y'all just
Well-
missed Bella. She came in to say hi.
Hey, Bella. We had
What's up,
a
Ray? How are you?
we had a crazy couple of days. I sort of mentioned that I would our next video, of course, coming out Sunday at 4. It's supposed to be coming out Sunday at 4. Last week it came out at 3 because when I preset it, YouTube, when the time changed, it moved it back an hour. I didn't know that it did that. But we bought a very rare car. It was actually a brand like Ford that it was only made for 2 years. And so we got to working on it. It's a 1959. It's got a 223 inline 6 in it. So we went and picked it up yesterday. Don't normally work on Wednesdays. Went and picked it up. Came home to the old man's place, and we thought we'd get it going. The starter was dragging like crazy, and we'd pulled old starters out, but this was the kind in 59 that had the long drive that comes out of the starter, and the Bendix gear, or I guess the drive gear, is actually on the outside of the starter housing. So it was bad. The starter was bad. We didn't figure that out until later. And then we got back at it today, and it was, I tell y'all, it was one of the ones that fought all day long. And, not to like let you in on what's going to happen in the video, but when it starts running all on its own, it purrs like a kitten and runs like the best ride we got in the yard, except no brakes. But it was a fun ride. So it'll be an adventurous video coming out on Sunday.
The viewers want to know: do you have a fire?
So is that a
extinguisher
two-piece, like the Bendix comes apart from the starter?
Yeah, it's got
I'm
a
sorry,
long
Grady. I was
shaft
talking over
about
you.
It's all right.
6 or 8 inches that comes out of the shaft, and then it has like a drive gear and a Bendix that when it turns, it actually drives it in the other way. I have to get a picture of it. It was first one of those.
So
I
is
had
that the
ever worked
reverse?
on.
Is it like a reverse drive Bendix?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Okay, I have seen those. Okay, I've never actually put one on or took one off, but I have seen them.
Yeah, the getting it's first time. So anytime you're working on something for the first time, it's unique. But after we figured out how to get it to go on, it was pretty simple. But I'll say simple.
Were you able to buy one, or did you have to rebuild that one?
Let's see. We actually purchased the starter, and then we had to go back and purchase the driver as well.
Okay, you had to buy them separate, but they were available. At least you could get them.
Yeah, it was. It looked similar to that.
Yeah.
I've seen those. I've never.
Yeah, I've seen them too. I've never actually installed one though.
But it definitely looks like a Ford starter without a doubt.
Yeah, that's so you had to see if we can get it. Get my finger in here the other way. Getting that piece there off. Oh man, it's got a little pin on this side, and you've got to work at it to get the pin out. And it was that wasn't the hardest part of the job. Then I've never seen it. Y'all can tell me if this is 1959. We don't work. We've got a 57 Fairlane. We've got a few of those, but I have never seen to get this car to run. The points were not set. We always say that you can use like a matchbook, like this, that thin, and run it in between. You could have used a matchstick. I mean, this thing is firing at about a 1/16 of an inch gap, but it's running slick as a whistle. You couldn't bring the points in any closer. They would still fire, but the car wouldn't run. So I don't know why.
Does it have a large condenser for the points?
It does. Yeah,
well, it's probably just storing so much energy. It has to, be further apart to just dissipate that.
Yeah. Well, it was we put a new coil on it, so everything was new on the ignition system by the time we got through, other than the ignition switch. But it was one of those ones where we fought tooth and nail to try to make it work. But when it worked, boy, it was so much more enjoyable when it finally fired off.
So Rev, you got to tell me, your dad, did he do stock car racing back in the day? Something?
He did not. His father did, and his uncle did. So he was around cars a bunch as a young man. Now he probably. He was around a lot of the strips and different things, around Atlanta, but he didn't. He probably ran his own little stuff on side streets, but he never did get out and play around too much. But he enjoys it. He doesn't care. It doesn't have to have brakes. He wants to see if the tires are going to spin.
No brakes, no nothing. He just lays right into it and goes. I can see it.
He always wonders why I don't want to ride. I just want to video it because today he had his truck and we'd already killed the battery in the car we're working on. So he pulls the battery out of his truck and already got close to killing the battery on it. So he's coming down the road and this car we put a new carburetor on it and the carburetor was revved up too high. So even in granny gear, even in first gear, he had no brakes. He had no kill switch because we had it hot wired. And the carburetor was revved up so high, he was still going. So he was popping the clutch, holding the clutch in. He run it up in trees to get it so it didn't hit his truck. So I'm telling y'all what, it was an adventure. And we always tell people, it's all for entertainment. We're safe, but we wouldn't advise other people to do it. I mean, if you were in an area where there was a lot of people, a lot of cars, it would be crazy as a dickens to do what we do. But we have a good time with it. Nikki T knows me well. The apple didn't fall far from the tree either.
I could see when he goes to take off after you guys get those things running. I watched it just
especially if it has a clutch in it. Most of the transmissions won't. We even had the Bronco last week, and I mean that was another one that was amazing. From being a locked up engine to running as well as it was, 4-wheel drive working. He was trying to do everything he could to get all 4 tires to turn over.
That's a beautiful truck, man. I'm telling you, if you want to part with it, you let me know.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice one. I don't know what he'll want to do to it, but he actually told me today, and this is another sneak peek. He said, "Boy, I got to get rid of some of them. I'm running out of space." And if he gets rid of any, I will be utterly surprised. But I think he's upwards of 45 automobiles now, so he's got time to get rid of a few.
How many?
I think in the Bronco video you said you had over 40. I was curious how many you had.
Yeah, we haven't done a hard count lately, but I'm sure it's over 45 now.
You save them, you get them, run them, you move them on to the next guy. He can do whatever he wants with them.
Well, that's he told me today. He said, "You just need to tell me the ones you want." So I think he's almost he gets them and he wants to keep them for us. And he said, the ones he sold in years past, he's kicked himself for selling. So I think it's previous regret is causing him not to sell cars that he has now. But he needs to. I mean, he's got money to play around with, but he doesn't have space to store them unless he knocks down a few more trees. So
I was gonna say, start clearing. How many acres has he got up there?
Oh, he's got a pile just in the area that we're at. He's got 40 or 50. I can't remember how many in that lot.
You can put up pole barns everywhere.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about a garage, so he's wanting to really, get something. So like today, we were worried. My wife is Nikki T. Nicole is her name, and Hurricane Nicole's bands were making its way through. So we're getting wet, and then we get dry. We get wet, we get dry. So it would be nice if we had a concrete place to work on some rides at.
Well, isn't the barn up at the where the Mustang and all that was, the Jeep? Mm-hmm. Isn't that just chock block full?
Oh, wow. You should actually in 90, let's see, we built it. I think we were flooded in 96. We're real close to the river there. The house that's closest to the shop was flooded out. So at that time, we were getting ready to put electricity in the shop. And when we got flooded out, all that changed. So it became like a storage. So he has, let's say, a 64 Fairlane in it. We have, I think there's another Volkswagen in there. He's got 2 campers. And then like boats. It's just, I mean, he probably has, and this is no joke, he probably has $100,000 worth of inventory in the shop if he would just clean it out and get rid of it. But he doesn't like to get rid of too much stuff.
So Mom, you're asking this question probably to the wrong guys. We don't have all the electronic cars. Easiest thing is downshift or shut it off. Just don't
throw it in neutral, cut it off, get off the road.
But you know, rigs like that Jeep that Brittany had, that 19. What would you do? Electronic e-brake, electronic shift, and electronic start. What do you do? That is a question.
Yeah.
So my wife and I had we weren't married when she bought it, but she bought a 07 Camry. I don't know if you remember, but they had a recall on the gas pedal because they got stuck. And ours got stuck. What happened? They would get stuck on the edge of the carpet, and they would just stick there. But the first time it happened, I was driving the first time it happened, and I just stuck my foot underneath the gas pedal and kind of pulled it back, and it was fine. And then, like 3 weeks later, we got a thing in the notice in the mail. Hey, your gas pedal, whatever, needs to come in for a recall. So
there was several people that actually died over.
Yes.
Over what I call stupidity. I mean, you're right. That was the main problem, is they had several layers of carpet.
It's too much carpet. Yep. And the fix basically is that they changed the carpet padding and put the carpet back down, which gave you a little bit of clearance. It's a simple fix.
Wow.
They actually shaving the pedal. You would take the pedal out, you'd shave it, and then I think we were shimming it up. And if you had extra pads down, we threw them in the trunk because legally at that point you had to put them in the trunk. And that was I thought that was going to kill Toyota, to be honest with you. I really did.
They recalled a lot of cars.
Yep.
I've actually had some of those since then that hadn't had that recall done. It's the first thing. So Rev, you don't know this. I had a car lot for a while, but the first thing I did when I buy them was pull the recall. Let's see what recall lists are still on them. And in fact, that was the first thing I did, is take them to Toyota, because last thing you need is somebody to take a test drive and can't get the car stopped.
Yeah. Well, that's a crazy thing with recalls. We bought I wrecked my daily, and we bought my wife. I can't remember even what year it is. It's 40 Escape, but it's got like 3 recalls on it, and you can't get the parts they need for the recall. Yeah. So they say, we'll get you on a waiting list and let you know when the parts come in. That's the culture we're living in. Nikki T just said 2014, so that's, I thought
it was a 15, but
yeah. So it's been good to us, but it's got I think it's got 3 recalls on it, and our Ford place doesn't even know when they'll be able to get the parts in.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've had an okay deal with getting parts for all the projects I got going.
Mm-hmm.
I Spider Garage, they bond electronic cars.
Oh yeah, I was going to touch on that. So Bryce is saying they banned electric cars in Arizona. What's up with that? I haven't heard anything about that.
Wow. Yeah.
I had not heard that.
Well, I know in California that it's, with all the electricity issues that they're dealing with and the rolling blackouts. I don't know if Arizona is fearful of the same thing and just, said you maybe couldn't charge the cars. That's crazy, though. That's supposed to be the future, right?
You're right. They catch on fire and you can't put them out hardly. Did you see I think there's some sort of buggy or whatever at SEMA that burnt.
Yeah.
Electric buggy that caught on fire, and they got it, I think, either out or pushed outside or whatever. But
so I'm not against electric cars. I'm against how they're being pushed to be the thing that's going to save us. I don't believe, at least in the package that they're trying to deliver us right now, it's not going to be what is going to get most of us to go over electric cars.
Mm-hmm.
First off, don't ban. What if they did ban our gas cars? Which I don't ever foresee being a thing, but most of us YouTubers, we'd be out of business. We wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah, there will not be resurrections or revivals of these cars 30, 40 years down the road. It just won't. I mean, can you imagine all the corrosion that we have on these 5 electrical pieces that are on the 60 model Fords, and how much those electrical demons can create issues in those rides? Could you imagine what it would be like in these electrical cars if they've been sitting out in somebody's field for 40 years?
The scary thing for me is the batteries. What happens when those batteries let go and they discharge? You know?
Yeah, Nikki T put it down. We read an article of somebody.
Hey, I'm gonna go dark.
Bought,
we'll be back. I'm gonna eat. I'll
be
here. Sorry.
But they bought I think they bought like a Chevy Spark, and the batteries went bad, so they had to replace it. They bought the car for like $6,000, and it was like $12,000 to replace the batteries. So
it's ridiculous. Rich Rebuilds, he's really good with the whole Tesla things. He's literally shown how to take the batteries out, fix a link or something that Tesla would tell you, hey, you have to replace your entire cell, your entire tray of cells, and put it back in, and it's like $8 or something like that. But the job alone, let alone the coolant that goes through it, I guess it's massively expensive.
Yeah. I would not, anybody that lives a ways or drives a bunch, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a time where they will become as reliable and user friendly as a gas car. But I don't believe the story that we're being told that they're like better for the economy and better for the environment. I just because one, economy, you're paying a boatload of money for these cars, and then then the environment, they're still having to mine to make the batteries, or so many things you're still having to do. Just let me keep running my Pintos and my rides, and I think we'll be okay.
Is it really hurting anything at that point? I mean, maybe it's hurting the environment a little more, but I don't see it any more than producing these cars. Because how are these cars getting to the dealerships? Please tell me.
Yeah, there's a big diesel engines that's getting them there. But what I'm saying is I'm restoring and getting these old cars that have been junked. I'm getting them back on the road, and we're driving these vehicles. I would say that is better for the economy to get an old car that's been sitting in somebody's yard, rusting out, and getting it going again than going through the whole process of starting with something and bringing a new car back on the road.
Yeah.
So I think what needs to happen is about the next 10 years, they don't make any new cars, and they just tell people you've got to, you've got to restore some of these old cars that are sitting on the side of the road. And,
Thank you.
I would vote for that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, I'm up here in the north. I just don't see it being a thing. We've got corrosion up here. I know you guys got a little bit down there, but I don't believe you have anything like we do.
Oh no,
we do not.
It's just how, like you're saying, in 5-10 years, what's going to happen to all those electronic components, all those connections?
So Dodge has an issue with electronics in their late model cars, and they have for the past 15, 20 years.
I think Dodge has had them for almost the entire life, but go ahead.
Probably, but how do I trust them to build an all-electric car? They can't even make a car that won't have issues with the most random little things. So, they have a lot of computer problems and stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's just our personal opinion, and unfortunately, people will get butthurt over the personal opinions. You know that. We all know that. It's so hard not to say the way that you really feel, But if you like electric cars, you want to run them.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. It's just like people's lifestyles. Don't push it on me. You can live it, just don't push it on me.
Yeah, I'm fine with anybody that wants to spend their money on a ride like that. I mean, they're cool. My daughter wants one. She won't be getting one unless she marries up. Because I won't be buying one. She'll be driving around in a Pinto or an old Ford. But we that's just it's hard for me to be able to spend that amount of money on a vehicle that you're going to have to charge. You're going to have to, and you're only going to get, what is the longest, like 300 miles? Isn't that like the Teslas?
I mean, that's what they claim, but I don't know if they get it.
Yeah. And then you have to, if you're going 300 miles away, like I've got a convention, I'm going up to church convention starting Sunday. No way I could do that. I would have to charge it somewhere there. It's not viable, I guess, unless you're in a big city.
Bob and I watch a lot of YouTube, and I can't remember the name of the channel, but it was a small channel. The guy literally barely ever drives. I think he was from New York. He flew out to California, was driving an electric car home for his friend. He had to map out, and you have to make sure you got the correct 220 outlet. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now this is an interesting question. What's the oldest car we've ever worked on? Mine's going to be a 61, which is the Falcon that I own. I believe that's the oldest that I've ever personally worked on.
I think the oldest on our channel that we've worked on is probably it would probably be the Pontiac. I think it was I can't remember the year. I think it was a 56 Pontiac. We also had a 57 Fairlane, but we worked on 40 Fords. So we worked on some old ones, just not on the channel.
I've got a 58 Cushman scooter on my channel. That's the oldest thing that's been on my channel. But I helped do a street rod for a 46 Ford many years ago.
Cool, yeah.
I've always wanted the Model T. I do want to do a Model T one day, but I think that's probably going to be way.
All right, here's a car culture question for all of us. Are y'all watching the Roadworthy with Derek on?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend more money to watch him.
Yeah,
I don't.
Listen, I love the guy. No disrespect towards him, but I love him on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we already had it. It was already on our package of whatever we're getting. So we watch it. He worked on a Model T the other day, and it was a pretty neat video on Motor Trend. But like I say, we already have it, so it's part of our package. The only reason we're watching it, but it's not as good as his own YouTube channel, but it's
But he's not editing, I'm guessing.
No, he's not doing that, but it's still Derek. I'd say that he it fits with his personality.
That would be pretty cool to watch. Let me know when that's done.
Yeah.
Those videos always go viral.
Mm-hmm.
Electric cars.
I've not had cable or satellite or anything in 12 years, a long time.
What's going on, Nathan's garage?
I don't regret it a bit either.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. Saving money that way for sure.
Yep.
No, we absolutely love Derek in this house, and I wish him the best. I'm nervous for him, and that's a huge leap. And the questions are: is he gonna remain? I don't think. I don't know. He's got a cash cow in the YouTube channel. I mean, that's his bread and butter. And I think that was the way he went about it is, making sure that the Motor Trend show didn't have any control over his content. Yeah. I assume. I mean, that would be the way I would do it.
I hope he's smart enough for that. I'm sure he is.
How's he going to find time to do both? That's the big question. Because you guys know this takes forever just to get a video, edit it, put it out. I mean, it could be.
I'll be honest. I think Derek has a twin, and he, they look really a lot alike or something. Because I don't see how he has enough time to, be a family man, and he is. No doubt, he's a family man, loves his family. But I'm doing it maybe 1.5 days a week on top of ministry, and of course we have families, so that's important. Right, I don't see how he does it.
I might get it. This is Simon. If everybody hasn't met Simon, this is Simon. He is really annoying when I come in the office because he tries to sit on the keyboard because it's warm. Buddy. And then you shut the computer down on me and go see Mama. No.
Nope, now he's gonna go mess with the wire.
Rev, I'm surprised you can get a video out in 2 days. Just 2 days worth of work.
Well, I mean, that's really all the time that we have. So and one of the things like today, I was very, very tempted when it started raining to say, hey, we're going to put one out that just will fail at and we won't get it running. And we sort of stepped back, prayed over it and said, well, let's keep going. And it finally started to work. But yeah, there's most of the time it's just 1 day from time we start to the end of the video. But of course, everybody always says we don't ever restore vehicles. We just sort of get them running and get them on the road. But that's sort of our deal. That's what we have. That's what we enjoy. That's what we got time to do. So we'll be restored more. I'm getting ready to start painting. My son, I bought him a truck from my old man. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint my Pinto. So we're going to have a little bit of body work and stuff like that on the channel before long.
What's your plans with that? Are you going to full on paint it, or are you going to cover it with like a bed liner?
Which one?
Your son's truck.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do body work, and I've been driving it, making sure everything's good. The only issue with that truck, electronic, it's got a new sending unit. I cannot get the fuel gauge to work on it. We took the sending unit out. We can get the sending unit there to work. I've tried everything I can think of. So I'm just going to tell him every 200 miles, you're going to have to just get gas. And we'll go at it from there.
It would be a good project for him. Show him how to ohm it out and chase the wire. I bet you it's just a broke wire somewhere.
Well, see, these and on the back of the Fords, it's got the film for the 2 plug-ins. And I don't know if the where it's so old, I don't know if the circuit on the back of the speedometer and all the instrument panels bad. I've ohmed out the wires, everything. You probably can. I've actually I took some out of the Bronco and switched them around, made sure that it wasn't the gauges. Same issue. So, but I've ohmed out the wire all the way up to the gauge and all the way up to the plug, and it's fine. And then you plug it in and it don't work.
Man, I tell you, we got a lot of people in here tonight. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, good deal.
See, you're bringing them in, man. They're
Good
following you. We got big timers in here. We got dudes with wrenches too.
What's up?
Dudes is a good friend of mine, and David's and everybody else is out there. Can you take the cat? I get distracted.
Yeah, Dudes with Wrenches says nobody wants to watch restorations. Ask me how I know. I agree.
I can second that.
Yeah, when you start working on a vehicle outside of the first start, first drive, first wash, and you really just start working on it, people don't seem to watch. And,
they love the will it runs. You're right.
It's
quite sad.
YouTube is very fickle, and because of that, you just find out what works and just keep trying to replicate it. And for us, we were out for a couple of weeks. We had some stuff and just couldn't make content. And if you miss a couple of weeks on YouTube, man, you're just like starting over.
I started getting worried about you.
Yeah, YouTube did too. They wrote me a check and said deuces.
Hey, Kevin.
I have a following just for this Camaro that of people that just watch. I could pretty sure I could wipe it down with Armor All 1 week and I get views. But outside of it, everything else I do, man, is just garbage. And I don't know how to transition that into something else. They're going to have to get over it because this car is almost done. So it's getting ready to be like, all right, we're moving to the next project. Hope you stick with me.
Rev.
Uh-oh.
What did you do?
Yeah, well, Nikki T has said it. We're waiting on a few parts. We need a gate and a back glass for her Bronco to sort of continue that process. And it's had all these good parts for JC's truck. I've actually pulled the ECM out of it. and just to check. So so I've got to buy an ECM now, a back gate. Looks like I got to buy a fuel gauge. So Nikki T is she'll get her way eventually, but we got to stack up some parts.
You imagine if I started pulling parts off here? That is a nice pushover.
You can get that back driver's side door. You can have it.
I'm sure that's all mine.
Yeah, it is.
So Kevin L has a great question.
If I got there
you
yet,
see it down here towards the end.
I'm trying. Sorry, guys. I'm really bad with this tonight.
He wants to know what's the highest mileage car you've ever dealt with.
I actually own a 99 Ranger that I bought new. Well, it was new. Leased it, and then after I leased it, I paid cash for it. Me and Nikki T dated in it, and it's just sort of been my truck, and it has over 300, I think about 329,000 miles, 2 clutches, a couple radiators, a couple bumpers, and she's riding out.
I had a almost 400,000 miles, 395-ish thousand mile Ford Escape.
Oh yeah. Wow.
V6 vehicle, V6 front wheel drive. I bought it. And it's supposed to be a runner. This is also why I had the car lot. Bought it. It's supposed to be a runner driver, and it got to me, and it ran. Driving was another story. All 4 wheel bearings were bad. So when you drove it down the road, it was like it just kind of hopped as it went. And I put wheel bearings on it. I spent like $1,000 on a $1,000 car, but then it ran great. I was like, the AC worked, the heat worked, everything in it worked. Somebody put a like one of them flip up navigation screens or whatever in it, and it worked so good. Everything worked on it so good. I ended up selling it to a lady. Her husband was going through dialysis, chemo, and they were like, we just need something to drive back and forth. We ain't got a lot of money. And I said, well, I know this has got a lot of miles on it, but it's in your price range. And over a year later, she came back to visit me in that thing, and she said the only thing they'd done is put tires on it since they'd bought it.
Wow.
I know. And then she said, I think it had a like 410 on it at that point.
So this is a trick question for us, for most of us, because we deal with cars that only went up to like 100,000.
That's true.
So in reality, we could have driven and owned a car with 500 plus on it. We don't know.
Yeah, don't have a clue. Yep.
Tom, if you're still out there in the chat, I want to say that green truck that I traded you had 375 on it. Is that about right? And that was a plow truck. Whew. That was a plow truck in New England that had, I know it was right around that amount. It might have been 350.
That is amazing.
It really was. And the truck wasn't junk. It's the craziest part. The person took care of this thing. That's the plow that's on my F-150 now. So
I think the best thing you can do for a vehicle is drive it and just
drive
keep
it and going.
Yeah, that's right. Just maintain it.
Things as they go.
Yeah, keep rolling.
I have a video. This week's video coming up, I believe, is going to be about undercoating your vehicle for severe weather like we have here. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea for you guys neither. But it's more you need it for up here. You have to have it up here. But we're working with a company called NH Undercoaters, and the owners, they're so down to earth. It's crazy. You know, they're this massive company, and they talk to what I consider myself a little guy, and they worked with me. You know, they set me up with everything. So we're gonna spray a car or two. I haven't decided how many I'm doing for the video, but we're gonna try and cover the do's and don'ts of it. And hopefully,
we have two church vans at the church that I pastor, and our insurance required that we have them checked by a mechanic. So I checked it, and they said it wasn't good enough because it was me. So we had to take it to a mechanic, and I knew we needed to get the oil changed, do a few things. And since it was needing to be done, of course, I took it and let the friend of mine do it. And we had one that's got less than 30,000 miles on it, and we drive it, a couple of times a month. It doesn't have many miles. It already needed ball joints. Just sitting, ball joints went bad in it. And then we had another that's got 10,000 miles, and because we didn't run it all that much, it needs a starter. So
Destroyer.
Isn't that wild how that works?
It is crazy, isn't it?
They're machines. They're meant to be used.
That's right. Turn them over.
I wonder if they're Fords.
No. Well,
No.
one's a Chevy and one's a Dodge. The church didn't ask me what to buy when they bought it.
The dealership I used to work at. So I don't know what kind of program they had, but they would get something like 30 or 40 of these vans, these white bare bones, and they would go to camps all around here.
Yeah,
they bought them or they rented them, but they were brand new every single year. And in the fall time, they would all come back to the dealership. We'd clean them up, and then they'd be sold throughout the country. So when you started saying that, I'm like, I wonder.
Yeah,
it's really crazy how they went everywhere, and I'm talking everywhere. They were shipping them out to Arizona to Texas.
This goes back to the high mileage stuff. My handicap van has 360 on it, and it's kind of like that. It's amazing. I'm pretty sure it's the original engine and transmission in this thing.
I doubt it's the original trans. Come on,
I bet it is. Well, maybe not the trans. Maybe the original trans, but rebuilt and put back in.
Many times.
It's amazing how many miles. Of course, it was it was a public service van or whatever. So
yeah.
So I don't know from where, but yeah. When I got it was missing a drive shaft. I went out to test drive the thing. Had it for like $700, or they had it for $900. I think is what they had it listed for. And I needed it for the kids, and I went out to get it. And the guy's like, I went to go test drive it, and I go pull it in gear. Doesn't do anything.
Woo,
yeah, no drive shaft. Just I throw it back and park. And the guy, I said, I'll give you $500 right now for it. And he was like, make it $700. Fair enough. I can't buy a wheelchair lift for $700. So
wow, yeah, good deal.
I bought it, got out of there. Then it took me about 3 drive shafts before I finally got the right one. And I had to drive I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, East Tennessee here. I had to end up driving to Asheville, North Carolina to buy a drive shaft.
Now, was it balance or the spline? What was?
I was looking for an original drive shaft.
Okay,
and so there's a pull apart here, and they kept getting these vans in, but they pick them up and they have aluminum drive shafts and they dent the drive shaft. So they're used to
lift them up. Yeah,
and they're so long, you have to run an aluminum drive shaft because otherwise that'd be 170 pounds. They're like it's like a 5-inch drive shaft. Also, why they get stolen is because it's a 5-inch wide piece of aluminum.
Yeah, that's right.
And the place I bought it from was not in a good neighborhood. So there were 3 other vans there for sale, and all the rest of them were missing their catalytic converters. So
that's what I was about to say. They go after catalytic converters down here.
Yeah. They didn't get the cats off this one, but they stole that drive shaft. So I ended up with a lot of money in a drive shaft. First one I bought, the guy was like, yeah, it'll work. I had it delivered. It was from a local junkyard that delivered to me. So I had them bring it out. I was like, it's like a foot too short. It's not even close. It's, and then the next one, the guy was like, yeah, I've got it. So I drove to Middle Tennessee to pick it up, 2.5 hours one way. And I buy it and bring it home. And I've never seen the drive shaft, so I just went and bought it and brought it home. And it didn't fit in the transmission. It was also too short by almost 6 inches. And I was like, then I found the next one and I was like, well, it's Asheville, North Carolina. I made the guy send me pictures of the van and pictures of the drive shaft. I was like, I'll come get it. But I'm 3.5 hours away. So
I want to see it first.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to make sure it really exists. It ain't dented or anything.
What is that supposed to mean? Did it work or didn't it?
Hey, I've used coat hangers a bunch.
He had a Saturn SL2, I think it was, and he had no money, no means. He needed to pass inspection. Man, anything that could cover that hole did. Let me tell you. I put it up on the lip and I'm welding and I'm just slapping putty on it. Just like, this is going to work or it won't. I use a David's thing or it won't.
Or it won't. I mean, that's my thing. It'll either work or it won't.
It held for a while.
Well, I have of course, 68 F100 and old pudding. And I was driving it. I went to a funeral service that was down the interstate. Probably the first time I've ever had it. Well, sort of the first time I've ever had it up to 80 miles an hour. And I mean, it was just kicking it. And all of a sudden, man, it got so much louder in the cab. And I got back and I thought I'd blew the donut out coming out of the exhaust manifold.
Lost it all.
And I was getting up underneath it to look at it. And it wasn't. It just rusted through the whole pipe. So coming out of the back, I mean, it just rusted all the way around. And I was so far away from home, so I just took an old license plate and rolled the license plate around and put 2 3-inch clamps, clamped it down. It's running so good, sounding so good, I'm leaving it until I need to really get after it. But man, it works real good. I can ride it through town, and people don't even know I'm coming now.
So I'm going to be the butt of a joke, but what is a sun plow? A canopy?
It's instead of a snow plow, it's a sun plow. It's not a real thing, though.
I am. Well, you know, it will be now.
That's right. It's been said. It's out there.
Vehicles are rust free.
Yep, you get the rust free when you buy the vehicle.
Very much. That's why I buy them down south now. You know.
Well, you probably have good interiors, right? I mean, the interiors, dashes, are they not busted up?
They are usually pretty crappy.
Oh, they are? Wow. I'll say I would have thought that, that most of the time, if the underneath is tore up and you're not getting a lot of, beaming sun,
that's
around here, ours is all busted up and then we get moisture. Yeah.
Yeah. We get pretty warm up here in the summer too. I mean, we get hundreds.
Mm-hmm. So I think really up your way, Grady, what really destroys them is when they get really, really cold, the vinyl becomes brittle.
Yeah.
It never really recovers from that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then it gets hot in the summer.
Big fluctuation.
Windows up. Yeah. Yeah.
At least it's not like out west where, you look in the interior and basically there's nothing on the top of anything. The top of the seats will be completely baked away. The dash is destroyed. But lower down in the door panels tops look awful, and down at the bottom they're like perfect.
Yeah,
that's an out west thing.
The only way that they're going to be nice up here is if they're in a conditioned garage, that has heater or AC, and it keeps a perfect temperature year round, and it's covered. I mean, it doesn't. I've seen some that are original cars and they're in pretty good shape, but you got to remember, back in the 60s, people are buying these cars. They're running them in the winter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What option did you have?
Yeah. They weren't collecting them.
Yep. Yeah, we were in Alaska for a short season, and of course, front-wheel drive cars, four-wheel drive, all time is what you wanted. But yeah, you're right. I could only imagine what it was like, back 60s, 50s, and 60s. You just had to learn to take off the line real slow.
I think, Alaska, they still, 50s and 60s, they're probably still running a lot of snow machine type equipment.
Yeah.
Like big snow machines.
Duct tape.
Yeah, the Danger Ranger has really made it. I hit a deer and busted a radiator and didn't have a lot of money. And I JB welded it and then slapped duct tape over the top of the JB weld and put another layer of JB weld over top. It lasted till it got hot. It worked like a charm.
I've got you on video here. Do you have that button handy? I want to know how funny that thing is. It said it had like 50 jokes in it.
Well, I do not. It's actually out in the garage.
All right.
And I don't even know if I have heard all of them. I've hit it, and it's random. It'll repeat some, so it's a lot like me. Sometimes I'll repeat a bad joke. So, but they're pretty good.
Have you repeated any of those ones yet?
Oh yeah, there's a few of them. I right off the cuff, it's hard to come up with them, but there was some good ones.
Are they all appropriate?
Yeah, there were a few that were Nikki T said was probably over my line. They might not have been over some, but we kept a few of them.
Well, my apologies on
oh no, it wasn't.
I didn't know.
It wasn't your fault. I mean, it was, but it was there. There were some good ones too, no doubt.
And then here, I thought you were swearing on camera. I was having a bad week then. I couldn't get anything right.
Yeah, it was. What was it? What did I say? You.
I thought you said hell or something.
Yeah, and it was. I said, "What in the heavens?"
Yeah.
And it sounds a little bit like it, so I might as well say it, I guess. But that's really, I've always said that. What in the heavens you do that for?
I think that's a Southern thing. That's not a you thing.
Really?
We see that around here. That's
what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're on that subject. I'm going to ask this one. There are a lot of things that we say in the South, and I thought it was only Southern stuff, but I think like Derek, there's some Derekisms that he says that I have heard said my whole life. And I don't know if y'all get it, but sometimes I'll say some of those euphemisms or some of those sayings, and people will be like, well, hey, you're copying Derek. Well, no, I'm not. I mean, those are things we have heard. Now, there are some things that are Vice Grip Garage. Derek says these things. And once again, we love Derek. And I don't know if y'all have ever said something and people will be like, oh, well, you're only saying that because of this. I promise y'all, on our channel, we talk like we talk. We say what we say. We call things what we call it. It is what it is. Like Nikki T says, bless your heart. That's not a Southern compliment. We're usually telling people you crazy, but we're saying bless your heart.
See, to me, that sounds sweet.
Oh yeah, if she ever says it to you, you better be watching.
She's already made up her mind about just what it is.
Yeah.
My Uncle Jeff lived down south for quite a while, so he can relate to what you guys are saying.
Yeah,
but he's a New England man, so
So I try to tone it down some. Because, I mean, I'm at the foot of Appalachians. I mean, I'm pretty – you can't get much more hillbilly than I am.
Well,
but I do try to tone it down because I know that I'm watched worldwide.
Yeah.
We have people that watch us from everywhere. So, but at the same time, sometimes as I'm editing, I'm like, they ain't going to know what that means. It's in there anyways.
I found out we've got a lot of comments about, certain things, and the comment, is good. I mean, we haven't had, too many. I just don't like people to believe that all we're doing is copying when we've been saying that our whole life. We talk that way all the time. So but it's is what it is.
Derek's a little bit of a character also. Yeah. I mean, that it's part of his is like you watch his early stuff. It kind of came over time. And I'm not saying that he's making that persona up. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? But like that's who his family was, and that's who he was when he was younger. And he just kind of let it come back in, come into his YouTube stuff.
He got comfortable on camera.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And he's just. I think he's just. Basically went back to he's from, I don't know, Midwest, like Midwest or whatever. So they still have a lot of the same slang, but I think the Northeast has slang that some Grady says stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I have no idea what that means.
Like what? Name 5 things.
Just the way you say car is one of them.
Okay.
Cars? Say garage. Say garage.
Shop.
We've heard some folks say all kind of things completely differently than we do, but I can still understand you.
Yeah, I was on. I wasn't even on. I was just in chat last week with Jimmy C, and he's like, "Anybody ever wants to hear a thick Northern accent? Go up there and see Grady's channel." I'm like, "Really? I don't hear it. I don't think it's anything."
I'm the same
sometimes
way.
It is, Grady. I think you do a good job of keeping it neutral, and that's what I call it when I'm trying to not say some really Southern things. I just try to keep it neutral, and I think you do a good job. But sometimes you get wound up.
When I talk to my family, up in St. J area, or even when I talk to my Uncle Jeff, him and I, we feed off each other with that accent. I can definitely tell when it's coming out hard, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of the things that we try to be as, you know, and I don't know how it is for y'all. It's hard for me when I'm videoing to think about all of those things. I mean, really, the only time that I engage my brain and think what I'm saying is in the intro and then how I close it out. I don't, because if I try to script everything, if we make a mistake, we show it, we share it, because we make a lot of them, and I think most people do.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the things we tried to stay as genuine as we can be and not script too much out. There have been times, and like in this video, we were finkering and fooling with the car. That's a Southernism, and we were really getting frustrated, and we got the car to crank off camera. So we come back and we try to crank it, and it don't crank on camera, and we get frustrated. And people are like, you're probably thinking, well, what's he getting frustrated now for? It hadn't cranked the last 47 times he tried to crank it, but it does finally crank, and it's a good thing. So y'all understand how sometimes things happen off camera, and we're not putting on a show. It's just you just try to get it to crank for the first time on camera.
I run a camera. I mean, my camera has a lot of dead footage, is what I call it.
Yeah.
Because I run a lot of B-roll. Because some of the best stuff that's ever happened on my channel happened when it just happened to still be rolling.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know how you do it with a phone anymore. I had to move up to the GoPros over a year and a half ago, and even sometimes that's not enough because the battery stinks. You run out of gigabytes, whatever you want to call them, and you just.
I don't have any problems now. Now that I have my new phone, the new Pixel 6 or 8 or whatever, I don't know
for this thing, and it's got crap for memory.
Yeah, but then you want to upgrade to the new one.
I missed the Note 10, the Note 10 Ultra or the Plus, whatever it was, the last one I had before this. Yeah. It had 500 gigs. I could edit a video just fine, look fine. The only problem was when somebody would call in or I'd get a message or something like that, then it would mess up.
Mine shuts all that off. If I'm recording, nothing else. I've got it set so it won't ring, it don't text, nothing.
Yeah, but I forget to do that.
Nobody needs me. There's nobody that needs me that bad. If it's somebody that if they something with the kids, they'll call my wife. She's upstairs. She can yell at me. That's fine. So it's not a big deal. It's fine.
What do you use for cameras, Rev?
I have let's see, I have it right here. I actually have footage on the camera I need to pull off. I'm GoPro, so I use I've got a GoPro 8, and then I have a GoPro 7 that I have on a bigger stand. This is the one that I just use for my hand.
Yeah, so the GoPro 8's actually, where is my magnetic one? Do I have that in here? Where are my GoPros?
I know your GoPro stand is over.
Oh, they're out in the thing.
See you, Mr. Mach 1.
Mach 1's out. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, he's out.
I'm trying to get that. But I got a magnetic one for one of my 8s, and it goes right onto the cars. It would be perfect for some of your shots, man. I think it was like $12 on Amazon.
Oh, wow, yeah, because it's this one has a little stand that you can open the legs up, but yeah, even sometimes when mine are old cars are rocking, it needs a magnet.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really like about the phone is the stabilization is so good in it. When I drive, you can't tell that the phone is bouncing like crazy.
Wow, yeah.
So
GoPros are okay, but they're not as and of course they have the GoPros, the bigger ones. I would if I was going to purchase anything, I probably would buy 3 or 4 more GoPro 8s and just have more cameras on at the same time.
Yep.
Because I'm only usually just one angle. We need to get the little helmet things so that have one for me and the old man.
I've got 2 phones I use, but and it's just because that's my old phone. It became a great secondary recording device.
I think I have a couple of them. I might be able to send you one.
Yeah, whatever works for you. I think that's a part of the, whatever you get comfortable with. That's the same way, like all of people always ask what I use to edit videos. And it's the first thing I learned. So I use Resolve 15 on the computer. So I download everything to the computer and do it all old school that way. And that stuff, I think the videos come out okay, but there's probably more modern, probably easier, faster ways to do it. But I'm used to doing it the way I do it.
Mm-hmm.
So learning something new would be too hard. So,
well, that's one of the things I do like about my phone is I can edit from my phone.
mm-hmm.
So I can do it wherever I'm at. I don't have to upload anything. It's all on the phone or whatever.
Yep.
So I can just, if I'm sitting at a gas station waiting on somebody to come out and I got 20 minutes or whatever, wherever, you just do it. And
now what happens to your old footage? Like the stuff you don't use?
Well, I have it
to delete it?
I have it all. Well, I do delete most of mine because I don't care. I'm that guy. It's on it's on YouTube. If I want it, I'll go get it back.
Yeah.
But I delete most of mine. But I have a lot of it stored in Google. Google's, I don't know, whatever they call it, the cloud service. I don't know what they call theirs, but and you can pay to save more if you want. If I really wanted to, I could transfer it from the Google Photos is their, like how you get into it. I could transfer that to a drive, like a hard drive if I wanted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think it's that important.
I don't know how y'all view the YouTube game. We just enjoy making the content, and that's why it's still fun. And we get paid a little bit of money. It's not outrageous. It's not life changing. Everything we get, we just put back into old rigs. So it's not like we're making a bunch of money off of it. But these are just adventures for our family. We're going to be able to watch, we hope, years down the road. So a lot of the footage that we keep, we may put together other stuff with that footage. So we I have hard drives, and I just keep all mine, on hard drives.
You don't pay for the cloud?
Nope. Not that I don't trust the cloud. I just may forget how to get back to it and open it up. And so all I got to do is plug this in, and it's there.
When I first started my channel, that was the only reason I actually started recording and working on the Camaro that's behind me was I wanted to record for me and my family, because I was trying to do power tour in this car. Spoiler alert, it don't make it. And then I was going to drive do Route 66 from Chicago to LA. And then on the way back, I was spreading my dad's ashes. It was his final ride. That was the whole point but it had, and then I started making the YouTube videos, and then it kind of caught on. And then I was like, okay, now what? But I didn't expect, I was basically using YouTube as an archive.
Yeah.
For me and my family. Mm-hmm. And then people started watching, and then, it kind of took off from there. And I thought, oh, this will be fun. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a grind.
Sometimes. Yeah. I love doing this. This is what I want to do. And I want it to be a bigger thing. I want a bigger shop. I want more projects, and I want more people involved,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember when I had a shop and I had more people involved, it was more things breaking. But it's totally different when you own the rigs that break.
Yeah.
I really miss that part of my life when I was in charge and I was doing something that mattered, and this is slowly becoming something like that, because you get, Rev, you get the people that come back every week to see you, and it's kind of crazy. I don't really have many friends in actual life right here in front of me. All my friends are out there now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you develop a YouTube family for sure. It's been cool for us. We've got people that are attending the church now that have watched online, and of course that's my calling. I mean, that's what I'm called to do. And cars has just always been my release, just an opportunity to hang out with my dad or the family and work on stuff. I preach a lot of messages with grease behind my fingers, and it's cool that people don't mind it.
It's more relatable, I think.
Yeah.
If you make us go off.
Who's the cat?
Yeah. Cat on the keyboard again.
Yeah.
He's up here playing again. You want to take him before he does something, please?
So I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, and Michael might kill me.
What?
So he almost watched a sermon.
Oh,
We watched one with David in it.
No, you didn't watch a whole sermon.
you need to, brother. I'll
Do you
tell you what.
broadcast yours
So,
We do on our Facebook page.
on your Facebook page?
so we're unequally yoked. I'm a born-again Christian, and he's not. So I'm just saying prayers. I'm not trying to get you to
All right,
drink Kool-Aid or
we don't-
anything.
Amen. We're not gonna turn this into a church service tonight, but
We'll talk about that stuff after.
at any time, brother, I would love to. I'd love to talk with you. I think I'll say this, and this is all the Christian stuff I'll say. I am a Christian, so everything I say is Christian stuff. I believe there are a lot of people who call themselves Christians that are not. And they are the ones that are getting the bad publicity, and they're the ones that are getting the biggest spotlight from the enemy and from those saying, hey, if that's what a Christian is, I don't want to be one. It's not about me. It's not about them. It's about Jesus. So that's, that's my last spiel, and I'll leave it there.
Hey, would you please, or do you want to share your Facebook, the whatever?
Yeah, it's just my name, David A. Wheeler, on Facebook, and Porterdale Baptist Church is the name of the church. So we have a church page, and then we have.
Do you stream from both or just the church page?
Well, we stream from the church, and then I share it online. I'll type it in the chat.
Okay. So one of the things that I enjoyed about COVID, and which was a small amount, was how many churches started streaming their services.
How many people say it like that? You know what I enjoyed about COVID?
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of the very few things I think that personally came out of COVID that I really enjoyed. I liked being, so I have a lot of different friends that have different churches, and I could attend church with them.
Mm-hmm.
And watch them preach from home, and because there's no way I can make it. There's no way I'm coming to your place. It's 9 hours away.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I always thought that was it was one of those things that a lot of churches didn't do it before.
Yeah,
but
it
forced them into that space.
Yeah,
and it was, I don't know.
It should have been a thing years ago.
I think it was great.
I'll say that.
Yeah, we have a second channel that I call Rev Stories and Rev Stories, and I just share a little, 15 minute gospel stories, kind of in a relational, conversational manner. And it's opened up opportunities for, people that watch Revstoration just to hear, different stories of truth that are in the gospel that speaks to us today. It's not an old story. It's an old story that speaks to me right now. So I've enjoyed that too. I need to spend more time because I really only can make one car video a week at most, but I can probably do 2 or 3 of those and put it out on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got a good friend of mine that also has a YouTube channel, and his is I can't even think of the name of it, something Monk, but anyways, he does a lot of little stories and whatever, and just like he goes out in the woods a lot and just does them from nature or wherever he's at. He's a construction monk is what he calls the channel.
Oh, yeah.
He does construction, and just wherever he's at, he just sits down and
talk
10 minutes or whatever. I think it's really neat. Hey, Bob.
Hi.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Bob. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, brother. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Love your channel, Rev.
Well, I appreciate you watching, most certainly.
We enjoy it very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a nice evening.
You too. God bless.
Hey, Bob.
So I actually have a non-related question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it political?
It is not, I promise. It's not political
because we try and keep that stuff out of the channel.
Know.
It's just so controversial for any of that kind of stuff. And I don't want to be labeled as any of it,
No, and I'm not trying to get anyone labeled. The problem is sometimes for me, it's an impulse of.
I know, but as an influencer, you have to back away unless you want to be that influencer. I don't want to be.
As an influencer, we're not supposed to influence.
I don't think that negative things or personally
Controversial, yeah.
Yeah.
Controversial stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm getting away from the controversial.
Oh.
So
Oh no.
okay, so your last name is Wheeler and you work on cars. Have you ever thought that was ironic?
No, we actually thought at first of what we were going to name the channel. I actually did Reverend Resale. I sell stuff for eBay, so I was doing stuff. I was actually rebuilding old Ford carburetors and selling them on eBay, and then I started selling a little bit of everything else just to make a little extra money. And that's really when we started seeing all the car channels. And I thought, well, I would rather be doing that than I would be doing this. So that's where the Revstories and all that came into play. But yeah, Wheeler Dealer. I mean, there's a lot of things that would fit really well
it's
with
perfect.
cars.
Restorations. So I watched you from before I met them, I believe. How long have you had the channel?
About 2 years, I think. Right at 2 years.
So somewhere around when I first met Brittany is about when I started watching. And then it's funny because Bob, the gentleman that was just in here, he cares about cars, but not like we do.
Yeah.
And now he looks forward to like your channel, David's, Sleeper Dudes, Vice Grip. We have a whole list that we watch, and he actually gets excited watching them now.
Well, I believe there's an open door. The cars are the open door, and we are what draws return viewers. They build a relationship with us and our cars. But if they don't like you, they won't watch your channel. And I figured that out. There's some people that don't like me, and I'm fine with that. But the cars are kind of the draw, and then when they get in, they're going to come back because of relationships they build with the on-screen characters. So I think it's cool that people hang out and watch, even if they're not car people.
I have to say, Forsaken Steel. Yes, Forsaken Steel engages us because he's got that background music. And me and my stepdaughter engage because it has clapping in it. So then every time it goes through the thing, we have to go. Because it's just part of it.
I'm so glad that you kept that music.
You have to. You can't get rid of
I
it.
got it. I have to now. I know that Brittany and your daughter dance to it. So
you have to every single time.
Grady, how did you come up with Junker Clunkers? I'm being nosy.
Let's see.
It was going to be Riggs.
So my garage name was Gas Garage LLC. I was going to continue to use that name, but then I'm like, I'm going to let the garage die for now because there was some crap about the city not liking it being where it is at my house. So I decided just to wipe it clean, get rid of that name. I went with a couple of different names. If you watched videos from over a year and a half ago when I came back hardcore this time, it was Rigs and Rides was one that I was really fond of. And then for some reason in my head, Junker Clunkers just came up and put Z at the end of it. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And some people that were bigger time YouTubers that I talked to at the time, they said, you got to get rid of that Z. And the name just doesn't make any sense. And I'm just like, but I really like it. I think I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I have because it's a unique name, And I've noticed that smaller channels are trying to come close to they're using Junkyard a lot,
Yeah.
Or Junk something. So that's
nothing. I was just curious. I didn't know. I was just curious.
Yeah, nothing big. I mean, my buddy Tom, he talks to me a lot about because he watches a lot of bigger YouTubers, and he tells me that the name doesn't make any sense to. Probably don't want that cat getting up there. The name doesn't really make much sense, and I'm like, you know what? I really like what it is. If it becomes a problem, then I'll think about it then. But
if you think about it, when you start working on a car, there's a lot of problems that don't seem to make sense in the beginning, and then you work your way through it. Like a puzzle.
I think it's fine.
If I get a vehicle, 99% of the times it's close to a junkyard status, so I think it makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, I think it fits the channel, it fits you, and whatever whatever works for you is what should work, because you're going to be the one that's sporting it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So,
like Gas Garage. Nobody understood what that was, but it means Grady Automotive Service, and Grady's my last name. Can you please? Oh, this cat.
Dudes with Wrenches, is there a question or something? I see he's talking about the chat. We haven't been paying attention to
No, we haven't. I
chat.
wanted to touch on this real quick. What Sublime said. That's why that was up there.
Mhm.
We'll try and go through the chat real quick. I don't want to miss anybody.
What does it say?
I'd be interested to know how many 289s actually went out of the factory.
A lot of people like the 302. I love the 289. I think it's to me the 300 or the 289 is probably the best engine Ford made.
The 170s and 200s, those are pretty solid blocks too.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Those are inline six in a row will make you want to go.
Oh, you darn cat. There we go. That's all right. No, but that's actually pretty cool, because you think about 68. I think 65 is when the 302 came out. 66, something like that. So.
Yeah, right around there. I'm trying to remember.
So you're talking several years difference. Can you get the cat up out of there, please? I know he's not going to stay, but I'm just going to try. I don't know what that
Nicky
was.
T's talking about the GoPros. Yeah, every one of them's cracked.
Yep. Do you have screens for yours?
I got broken ones.
But you don't have protector screens?
I don't.
I do.
I probably should.
Yeah, I do. What's going on, Olies? Sorry, I'm sure you've been in here for a while. I'm way behind. I'm just going to try and get through this.
Yeah, 68 was 302. I agree with Dudes with Wrenches. I think it was a little bit later that 302s came out. Now, you can have some older cars with 302s in them, and it's just the engine was originally 289 replaced.
Okay, there goes my dogs. Someone keeping up with the chat. Dudes, you want to keep up with the chat? Don't remember the church. Dudes was getting mad at me about the chat, huh?
He's watching this.
I know. He's trying to get the mouse on the screen now. We're almost there, guys. There we go. We're there. Yeah, 67, 62. Okay, good.
Yeah, the 5 inline sixes, 300, 240, 200, and where's 144s as well. Oh, you've got 5. Yeah, I've had just about every one. I don't think I've ever owned a 240. I worked on a 223 today, so that was a little bit older inline 6.
Worked on plenty of 300s and a 200 or 2, but that's the only ones I ever messed with. But they're all very similar. This is what I feel. I mean, even brand to brand, all the inline 6s are very similar, except for the Dodge Slant 6. It's got some weird stuff going on, but still, it's pretty similar.
Yep, creating a lot of torque there. The 300 though, in most of the old trucks, I mean, it'd pull pine trees out of the ground. So
absolutely
solid trucks. I
think the inline 300 is one of the best motors Ford's ever built. Yeah, just a personal opinion. My buddy has a I think it's an 88 F-150 that his dad bought brand new, and it's made its way through the family 3 or 4 times. Him and his brother and his dad, they keep trading around. He drove it from Tennessee all the way to California and up the coast and back when he got married, and it had 340,000 miles when he left.
Yeah, and, still riding.
And made it out there. I was like, well, how did the motor do? He was like, just fine. We had to stop and put oil in it about every day. He's like, well, just kept putting oil in it, and it's like it's easy to take care of. You don't have to change oil; it just burns it out.
But, yeah, that's right. Just keep putting new oil in the top and let the bad oil burn out the tailpipe.
Yep. So he said that was the worst problem they had out of the whole thing. And they got out there, and they did have a wheel cylinder bust on the rear. Had put a wheel cylinder on. That's all they did to it. That's a heck of a drive from here. That's I think it's 6,800 miles is what he did.
That's a good journey.
Yeah.
Liberty talks about a 240 and a 66 F100. I have Nikki T's in the other room. She's watching in chat too, but I have an opportunity to buy a 66 with a 240 in it.
Do it.
So I need to jump on it.
So I know that this is going to be I'm not telling you these things, but what are the price range of vehicles out there? Like the Pinto, was that a couple $100, a couple $1,000?
Yeah, I went. It was an estate sale, and it was just all old cars. And I was going to look at a '63 Galaxy, and the lady had an outstanding price, outrageous price on it. Wanted way too much. A tree had fallen on it. It bent the top of the car. So I was still interested, but she said she had sold it, and she told me, she said, "Hey, we got a couple of Pintos over here." She said, "You want?" And I wasn't really all that interested, but when I went and looked at it, I thought, well, there's two of them there, and the motors that she said she didn't think they would ever run. They'd been sitting for years and years and years. And so I just offered her, I said, would you take 600? And she said, for 600, you can have them both. So I paid $300 a piece for them, and that's still probably paying up for where they were and the shape they were in. But for
that's
me,
almost scrap money.
Yeah, but for us, we're making videos, so
Yep.
I know that I'm going to get return on the $600, even if they don't run. But we got them both running before we left her yard, so we came out, holding the bag really well. So, and she was excited. She hadn't seen them run in years, so she was excited that her mom's car and a car that she had never seen running was running. So she was excited about it. So,
has anybody gotten a vehicle running? Like you buy one of these junks, and you get it home, you get it running, and you get it going, and then you bring it back to the person that might have some sentimental value into it. Has anybody done stuff like that yet?
I think it would be awesome if there was an opportunity to do that. Yeah, Nikki T says, go for it. I can buy the truck. She just gets more shoes. So, hey, I'm game. I'm going to have to get off. I got a phone call to make. But just kidding. I'm talking about buying the truck.
Do it on the phone. I want to hear it.
But that would be cool. There's actually a guy in our community that's an older gentleman. He has a lot of old cars, basically a junkyard in his backyard, kind of like my old man, but an older guy. And I would like to sort of partner up with him and just tell him, hey, I'll buy the parts to get these cars running, and if you'll let me video it. And I know for him, it would probably be cool for him to see them running too. So yeah, but if there's opportunities around, somebody needed something like that and wanted to get one going, I would be honored to help out.
That's the same thing I'd like to eventually be able to do is find people that really need a rig going and help them out. I mean, obviously, I don't want to do it on a daily basis and get screwed because, there's a lot of people out there that'll completely ruin the whole idea.
I promise you, Rev understands that.
Yes,
I imagine he does. Now, this goes back into almost gray territory, but do you help as a church? Do you help people out? So you probably see stuff like that on a daily basis, like financially.
Oh yeah, most certainly. I don't know about daily, but we've had that even from the channel. And like I say, if we help people, we don't communicate it that we do that. One, because we're not really broadcasting that, hey, we're free money or we're free whatever.
Right.
Because I believe there are people that need help, and then there's people that want stuff for free. I think those are two different people.
They are.
So we just have to figure out as a church, and I'm a yes man. I'm always, if somebody needs something or wants something and I've got it, I'm going to give it away. So I surround myself in ministry with people that'll ask questions and will kind of filter through some of those issues and some of those people. So I try to refer to those individuals when somebody has a need. but we want to pay it forward. But Grady, I'll tell you this: I think that may be what you said may be an awesome thing for YouTube. I don't know if y'all have watched. I mean, they're getting millions of views. These guys that go around and clean people's yards, they cut their grass, and they get millions and do it for free, and they get millions of views. These guys aren't cutting that grass for free; they're getting millions of views.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid to do it, but it's a blessing to whoever's yard they're cutting. So I wouldn't want anybody to think, well, only reason he's doing this for me is because the advantage he's going to get on YouTube. But I would still say, I'll do this for you if I can video it, and it would be a win-win for both. And if
Dudes has
everybody
the answer
understands that,
right there.
Yeah.
Problem is cars are expensive.
Yes, they are.
Cars are expensive.
That's the problem.
Well, the biggest thing that I was thinking of is if you go and you do something like that, are people going to think that you're a charity? Are you going to get looked down on that's the only reason you're doing? You're answering the questions as I go.
Yeah, I would think you would have to be upfront and honest on camera and off camera with those you were working with, so everybody knew up front that this is what we're going to be doing. This is going to be how we're doing it, and make sure everybody's okay before you make a video.
Yeah, and it's also like, I feel like people have to look within themselves and see what their agenda is, because I know locally, especially, there's a group of people that they have lots of money and all that, and they help people, but broadcast it to show how good they are.
Yeah,
it's like self-advertising. So it's like, are you doing the good deed because you want to do the good deed, or do you want everyone to think you are this whole?
Yeah, that's the big question, because personally, we love to help people, but if we do it through the channel, which we haven't yet, do we record it as a hand? It gets weird at that point. And then does it still have the same feeling that you're giving? You know what I mean?
I believe what I would do is I would probably record it and not give the backstory, not talk about it. Just say, hey, here's a car, I'm going to get going. And you don't have to video handing the keys over to the person and saying, here's your car back. You can just video, doing whatever you're doing. But there's a lot of ways around that. But, man, YouTube is fickle in all ways. And all it takes to me, I don't know how it is with y'all, all it takes with me is one negative comment, and I'll look at that one and the 1,000 positives I won't pay attention to. That's how I'm wired. And so that's probably the hardest part of YouTube for me is I'm a people person, and I don't like people not liking me. And so, man, negative comments, boy, they really get to me. I don't know how it is with y'all.
I've had very few negatives, and when I do, I just brush it off. See,
I've had plenty.
But I've owned a shop. Google, how many people go on there and didn't like the way that something went down?
Send dudes a link.
Took too long, too expensive, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I personally,
Dudes or Wrenches said he needed a link, so maybe he wants to get on and talk about that. I think that would be good.
So you was talking about working with the fellow that's just around you that has a bunch of cars. So that's the 58 Cushman I have out here. Belongs to somebody I know that deals in a bunch of stuff. He bought it in an auction, and I was like, hey, have you done anything to it? And he's like, no. I was like, bring it. Let me come record it. Let me see if I can get it running, because it's just cool looking. Yeah. And it's actually still in my garage. I need to do a second video on it where we actually get it running. But, so it's nice to have friends that also dabble in cars, because occasionally they'll post something on Facebook and you'll be like, hey, that's a good video. You need to let me come do it.
You're right. Yeah, that's my old man. I mean, he purchases a lot of these cars just because he wants them. And then it gives me an opportunity, or us an opportunity, to work on them and get them going. There's no way in the world I could buy all of these cars myself, but somebody that already has them, man, it would be an advantage for them to use the labor and get them going again. That's cool.
The next vehicle, the next big build I have is actually a car I already own. But the lady, so the guy I bought it from, it was a friend, his mother's friend, her son passed away, and it was his car, but he had taken it completely apart. I don't know, 3 or 4 years before he passed, and then she sold her house, had to sell the car or whatever, and I ended up with it. And part of the deal was when I was done with it, the guy I bought it from was like, "Hey, I want to reach out to her and see if she wants to see it when it's done." And I said,
Yeah.
"That's fine by me. When it's finished, I bring it out to her if she wants to see it, whatever. But I'm not making that connection. I'm not reaching out to her. If y'all want to do it and she wants, that's fine. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to reach out to her and be like, "Hey, I've got your son's car done." I think it'd just be awkward. It'd definitely be. But if they spoke to her and they're friends with her already, she may want to see it. And if so, I'd be more than happy to oblige. But I don't want to reach out to her blindly about it because I think that's weird.
Yeah, it can be. It can be awkward.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Dudes with wrenches here.
So, definitely here. So when we first started our channel, it was exactly what you're talking about right now. It was based on the idea of we definitely have enough cars in the Dudes with Wrenches fleet of things. And the idea was to help other people get their cars going, even not full restorations, just mechanically sound and moving down the road. That was the whole point. Just get them out of garages, get people back in cars, help grow the community of people in cars, period.
Yeah.
What that has morphed into over the past 3 years, nobody wants to pay for it. YouTube isn't obviously paying me enough money to just be restoring people's cars. I'd love it if it would, but it doesn't. So you have a lot of people that you give them all the help in the world. You'll help them out as much as you can. They just don't have the budget. That's why the car's sitting in the garage in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that does become a hurdle. We have tried to overcome that with a few people's cars. Just the budget runs out like any project. If you don't have the whole budget to finish it, it's not going to get finished. Just recently this summer, we took on a project. We took a 74 Olds Omega. The guy wanted, it was his first car he ever bought. First kind of car he ever bought. It was a representation of the first muscle car he ever owned. So he went and found an Omega, and he said, "Hey, it's got a 383 in it. Let's get it running. Let's get it going. I want to be able to drive before the end of summer." As we dug into that car, we found out that motor was not recoverable. So it got a lot more expensive, but we threw it together on the cheap just to get it going. And it was kind of the representation of where we wanted to start with the channel. I have all the footage. I haven't made the video because I don't know how to do it correctly. Because at the end of the day, he's a good friend of mine. But when the car got completed and he realized what he had, we handed him the keys on a Saturday and the car was sold by Monday.
Oh, my. Yeah, that can be a great challenge and a barrier. You almost have to forget all of that, or otherwise it would that could that could ruin some relationships.
Well, and that's where I left it. I said I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I understand. Money can be tight and can be important to a guy, and when you realize we just took 2 months of our time and built you a car that you may have given $3,000 for, and now it's worth $15,000. I can understand the amount of money standing there in front of you now. It becomes pleasure over, hey, I could give something to my family or be able to, afford something I didn't think I could afford. So I understand the plight that we all suffer when it comes to financial. If you got a $30,000 car sitting in the garage that you aren't enjoying, you should probably sell it.
Yeah. No doubt.
But if it's something that means something to you and it doesn't run and it doesn't whatever, leave it there forever. I mean, it's really nothing stopping you. So back to what we were saying, it is very hard to say, hey, let's restore a car for somebody and get it all nice and fixed up, because what you think you love about a vehicle, you don't really know you love it until you can start enjoying that car again.
Yep.
So you may have this fixation with a vehicle and have it sitting there in your garage for 20 years, But the second you get it put back together, you realize, I don't know why I kept this thing this long. It really doesn't mean anything to me, and I don't want it. So then you have to understand that the idea of the car was probably more important to you than the car itself.
Yep, the memory, the nostalgia, more than driving that stick shift with no air conditioner in Georgia. Yep, there's a lot of people that are exactly that way. So,
yeah. So, I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is it is a great idea to think you could help people out and get cars running, but people have to want to do that. And it's really hard to take somebody that's had a car sitting for so long or the dream of a car and really get them to commit to the idea, because obviously they haven't up to that point.
true.
So I kind of ran through all that with houses before I did cars at a construction company. You know, we tried to bless people when we could with free work, free labor on a Saturday. You know, you find somebody that really needed something done, you just go in, you knock it out, whatever. Typically, what we found more than anything was the people either didn't appreciate it at all when it was done, and why didn't you do more? We got a lot of why didn't you do more? Well, it's because you didn't pay for it. Or, you know, they wouldn't have even, you know, if you ran into any snag at all, they didn't have the money to fix it. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to help people. That's what I learned. It's just hard to help people.
When I could take the conversation in a completely different direction, but we deal with that a lot in ministry, and I think people that truly want help, they have to want it. You almost have to receive help before it's going to do you any good. So people that aren't willing to make any sacrifices to get a car going are probably not going to enjoy you sacrificing, or not going to honor your sacrifice to get their car going. Same way with a house, same way with a bill, same way with whatever. People that you know haven't cared up to this point probably won't care afterwards either. So, I
always found it was better if we found somebody that was already working on a project
and just come along and help. Yeah.
Right. We did a lot of decks that way. We'd drive around. You could just drive around on a Saturday in the spring and find a guy working on his deck. Mm-hmm. And, you know, me and my partner, we just ride around on Saturday morning listening for the hammer ringing. And then we, you know, just roll up. Hey, we're just, you know, trying to see if we give y'all a hand or whatever. Sometimes just, hey, yeah, would you help me carry all this wood around here? We did a lot of carrying wood. That's but those guys appreciated us way more than the people that we did a lot for. Amen. So we always did well with that. Just listen for the ring and hammer, and you know that guy's out there getting it, and he probably, you know, if you never know, sometimes you walk up on a company, but usually it was just some guy trying to fix his deck in the spring. So those were always fun. You always met the best people that way.
Yeah,
that's what I enjoyed about it. Was you met, you know, and that's why we try to do it anyways. Just out and trying to meet people. But you just meet good people like that.
We got away from the original.
We did. It got way out there.
There was a question.
Well, the original question was, gosh, now I don't even remember. Well, it was, have you ever purchased a vehicle from somebody that it was their project or something like that,
and then took it back when you were done?
Brought it back when it was back up and running, and showed them and whatever. You know?
And so it goes back to exactly what I was saying, though. I think a lot of people, and this is for me, I'm not going to say this for everybody. I hoard things. I keep things for the wrong reasons forever. So if I'm willing to sell a car, I don't ever want to see that thing again.
I'm right there with you. I don't want it riding around town.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those, I guess for me, if I was to buy something off somebody, I would have to know them. I would have to know their personal opinions on the car, know what the sacrifice was of giving that car up, to know that I want to give it back to them. Because at the end of the day, they would just look at you and be like, thanks for the car. It's going to sell for way more this time. Mm-hmm. You know?
Well, even just showing up just to show it off to them when you're done too could be taken the wrong way.
Yeah, because now they're going to look at you and be like, so you're going to sell it for twice what I gave it to you for? Because I've had that issue before. When you get a car fixed up and you sell it for, you know, let's say $6,000, and they gave it to you for 600, they start getting a little hurt on that. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So that has happened to me more than once, where people get upset when I sell something for more than I bought it for. I'm like, well, look, I spent the
I'm
time.
not going to do it the other way.
I spent the time and the money to fix it. Now it's mine, and I can do whatever I like with it, and its value is higher. Therefore, I'm going to sell it.
I've had a lot of those before, and it wasn't just cars, it was 4-wheelers or 3-wheelers or whatever.
Yeah.
Nikki T has got it right there. The people that really need the help aren't going to ask, and
Yep. And of course, she knows those are the ones that we. I don't want to get into great deep. Those are the ones that I personally go up to and I help. I see they need their tires changed, or I see their batteries bad, or whatever, and I just go. I don't even ask. I just go and do it because I know it's needed. I know. So there's different ways that we go about, loving on people, and that's just community. I mean, that's the way we all do it. Well, guys, yeah. I hate to leave. My wife is still in there. I know she's got to get up early in the morning. I hate to leave good company. But Michael and Brittany and Forsaken Steel, every single one of you, let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Let's not make it a year this next time.
Amen. I'll take the invitation, and if I can make it, I will.
Anytime you're welcome, Rev. We really appreciate you coming on. We'll be seeing you on it's Sunday evening at 4, right? That's when you drop videos normal.
Amen. Sunday at 4.
So
good talking to you.
We gotta say it. Deuces.
Deuces, and may God bless. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
He's a good guy. I really like his channel. I like his whole family. The whole crew is awesome.
Way to make everyone feel like crap. Now.
Yeah, you guys. Everybody else sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with sucking. It's a life thing, It's how I live it. Brittany, I'm her favorite until somebody else shows up. I know how it is.
I got nobody else.
Totally fine.
Listen here, it's not everybody that I would just literally go to a group chat and be like, hey, guess what? I'm going to take this sticker, put this here. Oh, by the way, I went and did DoorDash and sat on someone's burger and blah, 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 blah.
Hey now.
It's probably nice now that you don't have a vehicle that qualifies for DoorDash anymore. For DoorDash,
I love it. I actually, although I bet I could get a lot more deliveries done with this.
You have to qualify.
Don't you have to have a qualifying vehicle for DoorDash?
I think you have to have insurance and a driver's license.
Yeah.
Is that it? Oh,
maybe
it's
DoorDash
Uber.
guy that
Maybe
shows
it's
up
Uber.
over here is like a 78 G-body Monte Carlo with different colored doors and busted wheels.
Nice.
There's some people that do DoorDash on bikes. I'm like, okay.
Maybe it's maybe I was thinking about Uber. You have to have a qualifying vehicle for Uber.
Yeah, because you're bringing people to and from place.
Yeah, but you don't have to have, a good thought process. Yeah, criminal background.
Charlie Manson doing.
The youth is all about getting into cars with strangers these days.
I know. When I was growing up, that was something you weren't supposed to do, but here we are.
Yeah.
And if they offer a lollipop, that's even more enticing. You get a Tootsie Pop and they drive for Uber.
What?
Break all the rules.
Break all the rules.
I got a good.
Are there rules
story.
anymore?
I don't think so. There's
I don't think so.
Anything anymore.
I have a good buddy who tried to get out of a DWI with a receipt from an Uber.
How did that go?
Didn't work out well. So
Okay,
what he did was he got inebriated. He got a ride back to his car. He was going to drive home when he decided, no, this is a bad idea. So he sat in the driver's seat. He really contemplated it. He went, nope, I'm going to get an Uber. So he got an Uber, clicked order, good to go. And while he was waiting for the Uber, he passed out a little bit. And it was cold. So, he had the car running.
Oh,
and he had the door ajar, so the dome light was on. So it didn't take much for a police officer to drive by and notice him kind of passed out in his car in the driver's seat with it running.
Yeah.
And he tried to claim, I wasn't driving. There's security cameras in the footage that showed I never drove the car. And an Uber was on the way. And they still said, no, DWI, vehicle's running.
Keys in the ignition.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it takes in New Hampshire.
Yep.
I know that.
Yeah,
We
my
can't do nothing for you. But here's the worst part about it. The Uber showed up and somebody else was like, oh, no, I'm that guy. And took the Uber and went home and he had to pay for that.
Oh man!
Oh, jeez. Oh my God.
That's terrible.
Talk about getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he was more upset about the Uber charge than he was about the DWI at the end of the day.
He's
Man,
gonna be at the end of the day. That stuff's expensive.
So my first ever boyfriend that happened, he was just in his truck, but he had been like, it was like 0.2, like 0.2,
Whoa.
like not 0.02, like 0.2.
Would you
like
chill out?
He was like
He's
almost
legally dead.
Yeah, almost. He had drank so much, and I was at work, and he didn't work, so he didn't have much else to do besides be home and drink.
Sounds like a
So
winner.
I get a call from I was like,
Don't worry, she's
20
traded up.
I did. Well, I'm in my 30s now. Back then, I was like 19, 20, and you do what you gotta. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
No,
But
stop.
anyways,
all right, keep going.
I get a call from work
Stop it.
that he's been picked up for a DWI, not because he was driving, but because the car was on and he was in the driver's seat.
Yep.
So that initially got him the ticket. However, it didn't help that afterwards, when they were trying to arrest him, he decided to put it in reverse anyways. So then it really just, and so the police of all people, so they asked me if I can come and pick him up, and I refused. They said, let him sit there all night. Maybe it'll be a lesson. They brought him home. They gave him a ride home from
Yeah,
jail.
good guys.
They didn't want him there either.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, like, the way to teach him a lesson. Cool. Now he can do it all whenever he wants and never have a problem because he knows he'll get a ride back.
That's mint.
Yeah,
tell you
that kind of shot me in the foot too because he lost his license, so I had to cart him around everywhere. Made me want a DWI.
How can I get out of this?
That's when you just take him somewhere
My
and you
license.
don't go pick him back up.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking it sounds like even in that relationship's easy.
So,
You need to go to the mall, huh?
right?
Into that.
It took 3 years
Would you?
for me to
3
get
years.
3 years. But out of all the things that went on, what I finally kicked him out over was all the hash browns he ate because I bought groceries all the time.
What?
And I came home and he ate all the food while I was gone.
Even the hash browns. Dang
Even
it.
the hash browns. So I was kind of looking for a way out anyways.
Wow.
So
No.
and then he came in and stole my TV, which was an old tube, the old big TVs, which
As
was
long as
funny.
he's gone.
I bought one on Black Friday for not even $100. So it was actually pretty profitable too.
I'm just saying, if hash browns is the straw that broke that camel's back, that
It's always-
camel was an amputee.
It was loaded.
Yeah.
With a little bit of a head problem.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry. You come home from a 16-hour evening night shift. You want something to eat before you go to bed. It's just a given. And if my food isn't in the freezer that I bought because he sat home and chowed it all down while he was watching Star Trek, sorry.
What?
Without you?
Without me.
Person is not getting
Next
better at everything you say.
That's right. The story does not get better. We get it. I would have left him at the Waffle House or whatever, like a year and a half in.
For us, it'd be the Cracker Barrel.
The crackers is close enough.
Oh, I hate the Cracker Barrel.
So
What? I used to eat there every weekend. Their gravy.
So, we had a Cracker Barrel literally within walking distance of our house, and we never went there. I just made fun of the fact that it was there. And then I moved away. I was there 4 years, never went to that place. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to this Cracker Barrel because I lived by one and I never went to it. So I was 2 hours from home. I go into this Cracker Barrel and I ordered a chicken sandwich. And it was
Yeah.
literally a burnt chicken finger on 2 pieces of burnt toast. And I'm just like, what is this?
That's
And
a
the
bad
person-
order for them.
You
Yeah.
You gotta
So-
order the right things. You only go there for the country fried steak.
So I was very upset about it. Very upset. And the guy that was with me, he said, I never am going to go to eat with you ever again.
Stop.
And I said, why not? He goes, well, I'm going to let you order first and get your meal first before I even order. Because it's
No.
very awkward to eat a meal when you send your food back and then refuse to order anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just sat there and watched him eat because I was not going to order any more food. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want it.
I think it's-
I've always had a good experience. I get country fried steak. They're always like this big. They're smothered in, white sausagey gravy.
Well, I was
and-
trying to watch my feminine figure, and big steak
Mm.
with gravy just wasn't going to fit into that criteria.
So that went out.
Then you had no business being at Cracker Barrel if you
Yeah.
was trying to watch a figure.
You need to be at like a Chipotle or.
Ugh.
Bill says he was at the Waffle House this morning.
Oh. I do
I do like me some Waffle House.
Bill, I'm sorry we were not ignoring you. It's just the chat was going. It's sometimes hard. Brittany, as you can see, is doing very well now.
I'm alive.
She had the Rona pretty bad this time.
Yeah, my doctor just said I have
Pretty
bad
bad.
luck.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what life is.
It is.
It's just true. Just a
Yeah.
string of bad luck.
Yeah.
No,
I
just luck
stopped
in
buying
general.
a Powerball ticket.
Probably would have been the time you won.
Probably.
$2 million in California.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
I've never been
California.
to a Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
So.
that's amazing.
No.
Amazing.
I don't know about amazing. I mean, dude's had a terrible experience, but it's all right. I think it's a little pricey for what it is.
It is, but at the same time, to me, it's like
From the motel.
country home cooking. So
So bring some up for me, Bill. I'll pay you.
I like blueberry and chocolate chip muffins, please. I mean waffles, please. But it's gotta be New Hampshire maple syrup. So just bring.
So the thing I like about it is no matter where I go across the country, I basically can stop there and eat, and I feel like I'm gonna get at least okay food.
Yeah.
Where I'm not a big McDonald's kind of person, and that's one of the only other things you can just always find off an exit. So
No. Subway.
Subway. I'm really not a Subway person at all. Dude, do you have a shirt on in that picture? Oh yeah, you do.
What are you? Are you?
I really hadn't looked at that picture right then. I was like, does he have a shirt? Yeah, he does.
Maybe he's making that face because he doesn't have a shirt. And he's disappointed.
Dude, were you looking at that picture?
It's Moses.
That was your Grizzly Adams look, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it's funny because his hair on the top of his head is curly and then his beard is like as straight it can be.
I don't think you're looking at the right beard.
I don't think it looks straight.
It's not.
I think it does.
I didn't think it was.
I
I
couldn't
think
straighten this beard if I tried.
It reminds me of a broom.
Of a broom, but I thought it was straight.
It is. Brooms have straight
it's a straight
bristles so
broom?
you can sweep the.
What? Oh no, she's overtired.
We've lost Brittany. She's done.
Oh no.
So I just realized we're talking about restaurants because I came to a realization the other day. So we have a place in town called Sneaky's Chicken. And
I don't think I would ever eat at that.
they broast chicken. Everybody loves it. I've never been a fan. Everybody that comes here is like, oh, you got to try Sneaky's Chicken. Well, I didn't realize, there's a chicken place. I don't really care about it. I've been there like 4 times. I've never thought it was great. It's just chicken. Okay. So they put up a mural on the side of the building just recently. And it's a Jewishly owned outfit, which I didn't realize that until they put the mural on the side of it. So I'm like, all right, it's a Jewish gal. She's whatever mama, and she just makes chicken. And then it dawned on me when my buddy goes, well, that place is racist, right? I'm like, what? He goes, look at the character on the sign. And it's a raccoon with like a mask on. And it says Sneaky's Chicken, and he's sneaking the chicken. And I'm just like, oh no, I never realized that. And I'm like, oh man, that's bad. Why is this okay at this day and age?
Well, it was probably never meant like that, but
that place was opened in the 50s.
Oh, maybe it was. Never mind. I got nothing. I was trying to help here, but I got nothing for him.
It's one of those things I never even realized it till my buddy who grew up in Texas. He's like, "Yeah, that's totally
because your brain doesn't work like that.
no."
I wouldn't have either. I would have just assumed that. I would have just ran with it because I wouldn't have thought about that.
But it was one of those funny moments where like the PC culture actually like kicked in a little bit in the back of my head. Was like, "Oh no," like because I don't care about that stuff and I don't even notice it. And then somebody points out, I'm like, "Oh no."
Oh no!
I could see where people could maybe misconstrue the meanings here.
I'm surprised no one complained about it sooner.
So this is Iowa, and
So this is Iowa,
and I'm gonna give you it's not okay, but population per capita numbers are not in the favor of certain groups. So there's a lot of other groups that don't really care about stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Would you stop, Ma?
The meat.
no.
Ma, the meatloaf.
And it could be completely unintentional. Maybe it was just a character.
I hope it
has
was.
no meaning at all.
I really hope it was, but
Well, I could see where it'd be innocent though, because raccoons are very sneaky animals.
I mean, there's a reason why we call them trash bandits
yeah.
or trash
I think-
pandas.
I think possums are worse.
Possums are worse, but
Well,
So
that's
I have
because
a-
you have one not on your head.
I
Yes.
have a better name because we have some raccoons that like to get in our trash cans. So we call them trash bandicoots. And
trash bandicoots are pretty good too.
because they get in there and they just kind of spin everything up and throw it all over the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna break her bad.
One of the places I lived many moons ago, we had raccoons that came through there, and we just had like the plastic trash cans with the lids that were on them. And if you didn't put a rock on the top, I guarantee you that all the stuff would be out every morning. And they just rip the bags open and just toss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I have pictures of my F-150. I used to park it right next to the trash cans, which there's a Fairlane there now, so I don't notice. But there would be paw prints all up the hood of my truck. And then there would be like, they would pull stuff out, set it on the hood, tear it open on the hood, and then just leave it there. And it's like, thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
It'd be like half a rotisserie chicken torn up all over the hood of the truck. And it's like, great.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way those raccoons were. They didn't care about you or anybody else. And we were all just living in their world, and they were looking for a free meal.
Oh,
You
I
know.
will tell you a raccoon story. So, country raccoons, they're all about running away. You can spook them, they'll run off. They might hiss at you. City raccoons are a different deal altogether. So, there is a small outfit that has a bunch of old trucks parked behind this lot. So, you can kind of drive down this back alley and you can kind of go look at these old trucks. So, we were down there one night and it was like, let's go check out those old trucks. It's dark. No one's going to yell at us, We're not stealing nothing. We're just checking.
Just looking around.
Yeah. So I go down there and they got a 67 panel Suburban, like full panel 67 2-door panel. So I'm like, this is sweet. So doors are unlocked, kind of look in there, it's been sitting there for 50 years, nobody cares. There's a 66 Chevy pickup and a square body and a bunch of stuff lined up back there. And all of a sudden I kind of look over and I notice there's like 2 raccoons like bowing up in the corner. And I'm like, what are those things doing? And then all of a sudden my buddy's like, we need to get back in the car. And I'm like, why? And we start looking around. There's like 12 raccoons just kind of like getting closer to us. And they're starting to growl. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not interested in fighting these raccoons. And these are not raccoons that have like missed meals. So
they're big and hefty.
Oh, yeah.
Roid rage coons.
Yeah.
It's like, dudes, we all want to know, have you found the guy that slashed the tire?
So there's going to be a video about that.
Oh, right.
So we're calling it Justice for Carl because the name of the car is Carl.
Carl, yeah.
So Justice for Carl.
Carl.
It's a great name for it, at least.
Well, that's actually where it came from. It came from Llama with Hats. So, like, I'm going to get a llama with hats for the back window that just says, "But Carl."
I hadn't even thought of llama with hats in a while.
Yeah. No one's going to realize it unless they've seen that. So,
Yeah.
Kind of
It's
like a mix between Earl and Carr.
I didn't realize people have never seen the short cartoon series from Comedy Central. Have you seen My Pecker? And
Not seen that.
no one's
What?
seen that. You gotta go
What?
see it. Just type in bird.
No, I'm not
Have
putting
you
that in the
seen-
computer. I refuse.
It's a bird showing his beak.
I'm gonna watch it next.
I'm just gonna take your word for it on this one.
You have to go see it. You'll never. It's one of those things you'll never ever regret it, or forget it. You know, whatever.
Is this, you guys probably won't even know, but there was a skit a long while ago, and I don't remember the name of it. Old Greg. You guys ever heard of it?
Can't say that I have.
So go up into the YouTube world and at the search bar type in Old Greg. When you guys got time, no kids around.
Oh, what is that?
With no kids, especially.
It's like some
It's mythical land.
It's what my buddy showed me it, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Maybe not that long, but a long time
Oh,
ago.
it's a BBC comedy. Here we go.
It's pretty stupid funny.
There's
One of the
teachers.
first videos I think I ever saw on YouTube was the Candy Mountain. Have you seen that?
Okay, so,
Oh my gosh.
It's like a unicorn or whatever, and they steal his kidney. It's hilarious.
oh wait, Brill first was talking about it too. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that.
Yeah, you didn't even catch up in the comments there.
I stole your thunder, man.
Thievery. Thievery. So the actual, now that you say it, the short that's coming out tomorrow is the video of me changing the tire after it got slashed. So
Want to see my downstairs mix up? I'm all Greg. Oh, we're losing people.
Now we're losing people. They're like, this show has went off the rails. We're done.
Well, it usually
That or
does.
they're out watching these videos.
yeah,
Like,
you
we'll be
can't
back.
direct people to different YouTube videos and expect them not to.
Oh my
go
god,
there.
they probably wouldn't look it up right now.
That's probably
Yeah.
why they're all.
I wish I could play it. Yeah, Kevin, my spoon is too big.
Oh my gosh. I used to watch one way back in high school, but it's creepy. Like as an adult now, it's creepy, but I used to think it was hilarious. It was called Salad Fingers.
What?
It
What?
was,
Don't think I saw that one.
oh my gosh, it's so weird. It's this really bad.
Oh,
He's like a spoon, a walking spoon.
oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, he
so-
says he likes to touch rusty spoons, and
Yeah, now that I looked it up and I saw the picture, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I've seen that.
he has a doll made out of stinging nettles, and
And you know how easy it used to be just to be a YouTube person back in the day?
yeah.
Yes.
You just make garbage like this, and people would be like, oh my God, we got to go see it.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are discussing some of it, and there's people right now that were in this chat that are now over there watching it. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
so it's just saying, it still works.
My anus is bleeding.
What?
Kevin, what's the name of that one?
I would.
Can I have more potatoes and such in there?
So, dudes, do you have a plan for the winter? Since you're going to be under snowfall probably pretty soon, right?
What do you mean, like a
Like for your channel?
No.
So we have figured out that due to the way shorts work, people don't want to see my shorts
No.
that are more of a picture show.
Yeah.
They don't get a lot of love. So we don't know what we're gonna do because filming is the only way we can really get the channel moving.
Right. You need long format. I mean, right?
Well, the shorts work. Hopefully they're gonna start. So I'll just throw it out there. So I was invited to a partner manager program now. So now I have an actual manager that
Right.
does the YouTube thing. That's worthless, by the way.
I already knew that.
Yeah.
Or more or less.
Yeah. They'll tell you all this YouTube stuff you're supposed to be doing, but none of it you don't already know.
Right.
So it's just kind of like whatever. And then you ask them like actual questions, and their response is, the powers that be don't really give us that information. And it's like, oh, okay. So it's magic information like we've always felt that it was.
Yeah.
But I do have some long format videos that we need to get finished. Like I said, there's a whole Omega series I think I'm going to do. I got to finish the second Volvo video that's coming up on a year that I've never done. So that might be worth time.
Yeah.
I do have a big project coming up, but I can't show it on the internet because I'm actually going to be essentially, I don't know. It's a big deal. It's going to be a surprise. So I don't want to show it to anybody until it's done.
Well, I get that. I'm just curious if you had a plan because I know that
I don't.
it gets harder for you in the winter.
Oh, it does drastically.
I just know that, and I'm just curious if you had a plan.
My plan is I hope it snows, and then we're just going to do videos of doing donuts at 65 and an F-150 down a highway or something. I don't know.
I mean, I'll watch
it. I'll watch it.
I've just been thinking. I was thinking the other day. I was like, I don't know what he's going to do when it starts snowing and he can't get outside. To like everything's just covered basically for the winter.
The worst part is like we don't stop for winter. I just usually transition over to trucks. So
oh yeah.
It's just kind of like I work on cars in the summer, and when winter comes, it's like time to work on 4-wheel drives.
People love your truck content. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
or at least your shorts. I think they do. Everyone I've ever seen of you doing a short for a truck or a Suburban or whatever, I think they always seem like they do great.
Daddy boy.
it is a weird group. Like we bought another Galaxy the other day because we needed another one of those, right?
Right. Well, you only had 3, right?
Well, it's 3 now.
3 now. Okay, you had 2, so it's a third.
Well, you need 2 more. You need a fiber.
Well, we need a wagon. So we have a 2-door, a 4-door,
definitely need a wagon.
A convertible. We just don't have the wagon. So
you need a wagon of everything. All of us do. That's my opinion.
But the problem
you
is
cannot have too many wagons.
The wagon is the most expensive one of the bunch.
Isn't that weird? You couldn't have gave those cars away 25 years ago.
No, people would just demo them.
Yep, they were scrap. Yeah, and up your way they do demo. They don't do that around here, but yeah, people are demoed those cars, and that's all they were worth. That's what they considered them, was just scrap.
So that's a funny story. My dad has an '82 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, and it is a beautiful 2-door car, immaculate, 40,000 original miles. He contemplated putting a 500 cubic inch big block in it for a while because it didn't come with one. Yeah. And we kind of kicked around the idea. So we went up and we looked at one. Guy said it was low mileage, freshly pulled, blah, blah, blah. So we went up to this little Kwanzaa hut about 2 hours away. And we ran into guys that professionally demo derby for this area. So like they run a circuit. And they buy low mileage 70 Cadillacs and Oldsmobiles that are immaculate, and then literally rip the emblems off with a claw hammer. Like, they don't even care. And then they pull the motors and they throw the motors and transmissions away because they have this fully built $20,000 unit that just drops right in there just for derbying. And we were actually going to buy a motor off them because it was a good deal on the motor because they were just going to throw it away anyway. Mm-hmm. And my dad could not bring himself to give his money to them because he was so disgusted with what he saw when we went up there and met these guys.
I get that.
It was just like, it's like, this is horrible. Because, I mean, they had like 6 cars in the building that they were stripping to turn into demo cars. And they were all 100,000 mile or less big body cars of multiple brands. And they're like, this is just this season. These cars will be junk by this season's over. And it's like, oh, no. And then they responded with, well, don't worry. It makes your car worth more.
No.
It's like, I think we're done here.
See, unfortunately, I like cars. I don't care about the money as much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you do meet some guys up this way that's like, you demo derby, cool. I don't really want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't tell me. I don't need to know.
Well, it's like when I was in high school, I worked at a Sam's Club. And there was a gal that was probably 10, 15 years older than me. And every day she drove a 66, 67 Dodge Corvette to work. And it was a 4-door. So, I mean, who cares? It's a 4-door. But it's still a Corvette. It's still a really clean car. It was like a grandpa's, super low mileage, super clean. Something happened to it one day that it needed towed. And then I didn't see it again after that. And I talked to her about it, and she's like, yeah, we still got it around. I might fix it, blah, blah, blah. And she just drove this little Cavalier or something after that. Well, then like 3 years go by later, I was doing tough truck contests at the county fair. And here that car gets unloaded off a trailer, all chained up and ready for the demo. And I'm just like, oh my God. Just like, there's one I probably should have been a little more adamant about saving or going after or talking to the gal about. Because I look back, it's like that car was perfect when they demoed it. I mean, it was just like, yeah, it was a 4-door Corvette, but like it was still a sweet car.
We've talked about this before. I don't have a problem with 4-door cars, so that doesn't. I mean, some of them aren't very attractive, but for the vast majority of 4-door cars, I don't mind the look. So, just a personal thing.
As long as I can get it in a hard top, I'm not going to turn it down.
Oh, especially if I can get it in a hard top, definitely. But even like the flat top Chevrolets, like the Impalas and the Cadillacs and Buick and all those, the flat top. People used to hate the flat tops. I always thought they were cool. Still think they're cool.
Yeah, find one now.
Yeah. Now they're stupid expensive. But used to, those were the cars that everybody threw away. Nobody wanted the flat top. So everybody wanted a bubble top, which still is expensive. So,
yeah, my first car was a 80 4-door G-body Malibu. That was the first car I bought with my money.
You still have it?
I still have that car. And
wow.
It's one of those cars I just don't know if I'm ever going to get back around to it, because I keep it because it's my first car and I love it. But it falls so far down on the list of things I want to drive that it's just like, I still love it. I think it's cool. I've actually sold 2 2-door Malibus and kept it over them.
Brailsford, I would grab that. How much are they asking for it?
Pinto wagon. Ugh,
yeah.
Free. Pintos are like gremlins. They're cool at face value, but if you ever work on one or own one, you realize those were cheaply built cars.
Well, yeah.
If I had a gremlin, I'd want to do a body swap.
Well, the Pintos were pushed out.
Like body swap it onto something else?
Yeah, onto something else.
Okay,
yes.
I'm like, you can't.
No. Yeah, no. Cut the floor out and cram it on something that it don't belong on, that you can actually drive, that has good suspension, because those things
were bad.
They were bad. They drove like bricks and they handled like bricks if you could keep them running. They have, but I really like them.
Yeah,
$5,000.
What?
$5,000
for a Pinto?
For a Pinto,
yeah.
Hope it's nice.
No.
It'd have to be nice for that kind of money for me.
Yeah.
No.
But there's Pinto guys. I guarantee there's a guy right now who's like, man, I'd give $5,000 for that.
I like them. I wouldn't mind all right.
But I wouldn't drove it a while.
You see, Rev got 2 of them. He said $300 a piece. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's about what I'd pay for them.
See what an old Pinto wagon.
The Pinto has a following.
Huh.
Those are some.
There's,
I don't care what it is. There's
anywhere from
following for everything
to $22,000. That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to bounce. I've had as much fun as I can handle for the evening.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Well, y'all do what you got to do, but I'm out. Thanks for letting me come on. I hope everybody had a good evening in the chat, and I'll talk to you later. See you, dudes.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
He gone.
And then there was 2.
There was 2, but I'm actually thinking I'm going to cut this.
Yep, I got to finish up what I'm doing anyway, so it actually works out.
Yep, I want to end strong. I appreciate everybody coming in. We'll do this again next week. I have no idea who's coming on. I have some ideas, but until then, thanks.